Evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to Oxford Bookstore's Digital Conversations. Today, we are here and presenting this beautiful book by author Sabarna Roy. The book that we present today is titled as Fractured Mosaic, and it's co-presented with Inside Literia. Little brief about the author here. Sabarna Roy. He hails from Calcutta and is an engineer by profession. Sabarna is a senior vice president with Electro Steel Group. He began writing in the year 2007 and since then has authored 6 books and won several awards like Litroma Laureate Award 2019, Litroma Star Achievers Award 2020, Best Book of the Year for Random Subterranean Mosaic. He has been awarded for excellence in fiction by NewsX Media and has won Litroma Golden Star Award 2020 as well. He has received certificate for participation in the Indo-Russian Friendship Celebration 2020 and has also been recognized as the real superheroes for spreading a spirit of positivity and hope during the COVID-19 pandemic from Forever Star India Award 2020. He has covered all genres in his literary works, including short stories, novella, ballads, narrative poetry, plays, conversations, non-fictional writing, critical analysis of ideas and events, etc. His book, Fractured Mosaic, that we present today, consists of works that have been earlier published in reputed media houses as musings of an author and takes the reader to a mesmerizing whirlpool of thoughts. In conversation with Sabarna Roy today, we have acclaimed author and blogger Roma Gupta Sinha. Roma is well known for her blogging and presenting her thoughts. She has won the coveted Women of the Year Award in 2015 for her writings on women empowerment and the prestigious Planet's Pride Award 2018 for her entrepreneurial venture RCA. And she has been passionately grooming 6 to 60-year-olds for the last many years in her endeavor to give back to the society and aid in shaping the future of India. Recently, she has also been conferred with Sahitya Kosh Samman 2021 for her prolific works. She's an author of 6 published books, and her writing on her blog is like breathing to her. She's a mechanical engineer by education, and after a 10-year-long successful stint of working in Tata Motors, Honda Cars, and IKEA of Sweden in different parts of the world, she eventually embraced her first love for aiding people bridge the gap between their intellect and expression in her academy. Over to Roma to take the discussion forward, and I hope everyone's safe and healthy. Please tune into our digital conversations at oxfordbookstore.com and on Facebook pages. Thank you so much. Over to you, Roma.
Thank you. Thank you, Neeta.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that warm welcome, Neeta. You have already warmed me up. So good evening, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure being here today on Oxford Bookstores Live for the digital book launch of author Sabarna Roy's 7th book, which is known as Fractured Mosaic. It gives me immense pleasure to be with Sabarna here today and talk about this book, which I've absolutely loved. The wide gamut of topics it covered, the entire spectrum of things, I still am reliving them over and over. Sabarna, first of all, heartiest congratulations to you for achieving this grand thing of publishing 7 big books. Heartiest congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Roma.
And how does it actually feel, to be such a critically acclaimed author, Sabarna? You have won a wide list of awards and recognition for your work and across so many genres. How does it actually feel?
Well, the impact of awards or the impact of felicitations or these things are short-lived. They are transient. What lives on in your memory is the impact it creates, your works create on the minds of the readers. And if some of your readers feel that I have been able to write something that echoes with their life or reflects on the shadows of their lives, it gives me immense pleasure. Otherwise, awards and all give lot of feel good factor for a week or so, but then the impact goes away.
I love your aloofness, Shabananda. I've been following your journey for a long while, and I really love how you disconnect and connect with your work. It's phenomenal. I really admire it a lot.
Thank you.
Today, the center of attraction of our talk is your latest book, Fractured Mosaic. I'll just take a small break in between and ask our audience who are joining now. Welcome, audience. In case you have any questions, please do type it in the inbox. We will be ready to take your questions and answer them towards the end of our discussion. Okay, and with your permission now, Shobananda, can I ask you the questions which are actually playing havoc in my brain for the last couple of days for this discussion?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay.
You don't have to ask my permission. Please do. Shoot your questions.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. My first question to you, Shobananda, is that, it is not normally an author won't publish his random musings, collate them together into a book, right? So what actually motivated you to just put together all the works that you have been putting out across into a book? It can be a big risk, or I don't know, I mean, your audience can actually love it, but they can be the other side as well. So what actually motivated you to collate together all the work that you have been doing for decades?
Well, let me tell you, I have been a regular journal writer since the time when I was in standard 8. I regularly write my journals even today. Sometimes I write about the weather. Sometimes I write about a movie that I have watched. Sometimes I write about a book that I have read. Sometimes many, many things. Well, the mosaic pattern of writing actually arose in my mind in 2018 when I was compiling the 5th book, Random Subterranean Mosaic 2012-2018. I found that, you see, I actually, as a human being, love random things. I love to eat randomly, sometimes this, sometimes that. I love to read randomly. I love to watch movies randomly. And I have a feeling that there are persons in the world, there are a few persons in the world like me who like random things. And in fact, our mind works randomly. So I thought, why not publish a book that will have various kinds of my journal entries, including my letters to my wife, my children, which were there in the 5th book, Random Subterranean Mosaic. And it became very controversial, The book became very controversial because of its controversial elements and a few audacious elements. But I don't mind them. Well, it is also a way to create curiosity in the minds of the readers about your life. Now, somehow, Random Subterranean Mosaic, in spite of the warnings of my publisher, sold very well. My publishers had thought it will not sell, but it sold very well. It's still selling well now. Then by 2020, I thought of compiling a book of my journal entries, which I had published in various reputed media journals. I compiled them and made it into a random pattern as a sequel to my fifth book and published Fractured Mosaic. But if you see, Fractured Mosaic is more political and more radical in nature than Random Subterranean Mosaic. It is the most political book I have ever written. But in all my books, there is politics, but this book is the most political book and the radical politics that it contains. People have loved this book, including the Random Subterranean Mosaic, maybe because there is a personal touch to it. And I feel a bit satisfied for having started this mosaic pattern of writing. A few people in Calcutta during my book launch of Fractured Mosaic, the physical book launch of Fractured Mosaic on uh, February 12 at ITC Royal Bengal, told me that you have invented the mosaic style of writing. So I said, if that is so, that's good, but I can tell you names of people who also wrote these kind of books in the 19th century. So I did not tell this, but I'm telling it now. People who are not a bit well read would ascribe this kind of a writing to me, but this kind of diary writing has been very popular even in the 19th century. But 20th century, yes, diary writing has not been much popular except for Robi Thakur in Calcutta, who published all his letters, various travelogues, various mementos that he collected during his travels all across the world. So what I'm trying to say is that somehow there is a disconnect between diary writing, diary format of writing between the 19th and the 21st centuries, and people have forgotten and people are not well read about the diaries of the 19th century. But yes, if you ascribe me as the inventor of mosaic style of writing, so be it. I don't mind being the inventor of a pattern.
And that's pretty impressive, actually, Shobhanada, because, what attracted me towards your book was the randomness. While I was reading one particular thing, my mind kept jumping ahead, trying to find out what would it be next, because there's no pattern. It was like, jumping from one topic to an entirely different opposite topic. Now, on the same terms is my second question to you, which is again two different, entirely different things in your life, and how do you balance them together? You are a civil engineer by profession, Chabanada, which is like a very, and you've been doing it for 26 long years, right? And you are an author. These are like two poles apart things, one on the technical side, one on the creative side. So when did you actually found that author dwelling inside the civil engineer? Or should I
Well,
rephrase my
well,
I'll
well, yeah. Please frame your question. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll rephrase it a little bit, because I know that you've been writing for a very long time. When actually did you decide to give wings to the author in the civil engineer? When did you decide that, okay, my work should go public now, I'm ready to become a published author, I should reach out to a publisher now, and the world must know the power of my pen?
Well, to be very precise, it was in June 2007 that I started writing very seriously. When I felt that if I would not write, I would die. It was to that extent so intense and dense in my soul. Now, of course, I did not start with the idea that I had a power of the pen or something like that, because I was very inconfident about my own style of writing. Even the first 8 years of my publication of books, I was very reticent about my books. It is only in 2019 that I came out of my private shelf and started promoting my books. And let me tell you, still today, I am confident about my books because my books don't satisfy me at all. Uh, I sometimes try to read my books and I cannot concentrate on my books. I think I should write something better than what I have already written. Having said that, I must also say this, that I have been a journal writer all along my life, as I said, since the age of uh, standard 8. And I am a bit older than you think. I have not been in my journey of employment for 26 years. For 26 years, I have been in Electro Steel Castings Limited. I passed out from Jadavpur University in 1988. So precisely 32 years I have been working. So my age today is 53 plus. So what I'm trying to say is I've been working for a long time. And because I have worked in electro steel for a long time, I have been able to find out a kind of a harmony, a kind of a melody with my employers to be able to find time while I'm writing, or to find time to work after I have written. So I work, my work schedule typically is from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sometimes I'm doing my work, sometimes I'm doing my writing. And I have a separate studio and a chamber for writing in my office itself with a library. Now I am, of course, talking from my home because of the lockdown in Kolkata. Now, the point is, you know, you have to maintain some kind of a harmony or a synergy with your family and employers to be able to find time for the kind of passions that you have. And I'm quite confident that if you have the right kind of a passion, I'm sure you can you can follow your passions. Uh, you can ensure that your passions see the light of the day in due course of time.
This actually is much tougher than you make it sound, Shabananda, but then it really inspires all the young authors around. My next question to you is again, which has been dwelling in my mind for a long time, and that is related to the names of your book. Okay, these names are pretty intriguing. You know, there's an enigma about everything: pentacles, frosted glass, abyss, subterranean mosaic, or etchings, or winter poems. Like all these names, mosaic, they have some kind of weaving. Do you sir, decide the name of the book first and then write it, or during the course of writing the book the name occurs to you, or is it across the table with your editors and your marketing team that you revise the names to make it reach a point where your reader, the moment he lands on the name, wants to pick up your book and read? So I would like to know the process of naming your.
No, I would like to take the credit for naming my books to myself. It actually comes during the process of writing. And let me tell you something interesting, which I was talking in a live session yesterday also, that I believe that the back cover blurb, the book cover, the book title, and the book are four random entities that crisscross with each other and form a unique mystery and form a unique pattern that excites the curiosity of a reader. Now, you see, I would repeat this answer once again, that you have a book title, you have a book cover, and you have a book cover blurb. Now, the reader watches or reads these three things first and tries to make an idea of the book from what he or she forms in his or her mind from these three things. But these three are random and unique in nature, but they form a melodious pattern. The fourth comes the first 3-4 pages of the book. You must understand, if the first 3-4 pages of the book cannot hold the attention of a reader, it rarely will be read fully. It rarely would be read fully. So one has to concentrate on the back cover blurb, the book cover, the book title, and of course, the first 4 pages of his or her book.
So that's the secret, Gyan. All the authors are taking it from you today. First, the title, the blurb, of course, the cover, and the first 4 pages are extremely vital. Well, I totally agree with you on this. So that really forms, how well are you able to capture the interest of your reader?
Can I tell you something that the secret to a good novel is the opening line of the novel,
Totally.
The opening line of the novel. So similarly, I feel about books the way I have explained to you.
I pick it up exactly that way. So I'm not in two minds with it. I agree. Okay. I have been, researching a lot about you, of course, and I have heard you saying quite a few times that you write for yourself. You don't write for readers, okay? And I very well respect it and appreciate it. That's our personal choice. But then, having said that, when we put out our books in public domain, we are subject to opinions, we are subject to criticisms. Now, I am not talking about cynical criticism here, I'm talking about constructive criticism. Now, having said that, you are totally disconnected with the audience and you write for yourself, how do you tackle that constructive criticism? Do you let it reflect in your forthcoming works, or you just absolutely negate it? How do you actually tackle it, the constructive criticism?
You will be amused if I say this, that I love cynical criticism.
Okay.
I love if my books are insulted, if people say that you have not been able to use the right kind of words, the right kind of things you have not written. I like cynical criticism. Having said that, on a lighter tone, you accept any kind of criticism, especially the negative criticism, quite seriously, for the simple reason that in the process of your journey of writing, you want to learn the craft of writing as well. What I was writing in 2007, I am not writing today. So I believe that you change with the way people want to see your writing. I am detached from my audience, but I'm not detached to the extent where I will not accept negative criticism, because negative criticism for me is very significant, critical, and cardinal, so that I can review the negative criticism very critically and understand where it requires to be uh, taken into consideration. I'll tell you something that during my university years, I used to feel that if you write a poem with very difficult English words, that will make the best poem. Today, I believe that you have to write lucidly for your readers, you have to write honestly for your readers, and you have to write authentically for your readers, because readers are wanting authenticity every time. They are wanting something they can relate to through which they can relate their lives to. So I have changed completely in the last 40 years or 35 years. So what I'm trying to say is that you change over a period of time, you learn a lot of things, and at the end of the day, you need to be comprehensible, because at the end of the day, you are trying to sell even to yourself. If you don't write lucidly, you can't understand yourself the second day what you have written. So it's very significant to be comprehensible to yourself first. If you are comprehensible to yourself, then you will be comprehensible to others as well.
So if there's a good piece of criticism, you try to incorporate those things in your forthcoming works.
Yeah, to that extent. I mean, it will not be so strong that I will try to incorporate them in my forthcoming works, but I will definitely consider them while writing.
And I also love your point that the readers are quite capable of judging honesty in our works. I have
Yeah.
seen this over the years. They are much more wise than we actually think they are. So while we write, it is absolutely essential that we maintain the honesty to ourselves. If we ourselves will first write, love our work, then only we can expect the audience to. Now, since you talked about your university days and your youth days, my next question pertains to that. You have written, I think you have started publishing in 2007, but you had written your first small, tiny book of poems when you were in college, I guess. And
Yeah. Actually, in 1986, I had published an anthology of 15 to 16 English poems with a gift of rupees 200 from my mother. And that book, I published 250 copies of that book, and that book was sold in Jadavpur University, Presidency College, and St. Xavier's on one single day. And our professors also purchased the book. And because Jadavpur is a is a university with science stream and arts faculty, and a lot of luminaries from the arts faculty also purchased the book. And yeah, the book was discussed a lot. That book went very well, and somehow I became the editor of a bilingual journal after this book was published. And it had to do with a lot of with poetry, and social and political and economic articles were published in that bilingual journal. I can say it for myself that it was a good journal. It started publishing in 1986, end of 1986, and was stopped in 1989 after I joined the corporate sector. But in those 3 years, we had a very, very wide readership among the intelligentsia of Kolkata of that journal.
but how beautiful is that? Why don't you publish it now if you have a copy?
Well, today I don't write in Bengali, first of all, and I don't read Bengali literature. I've not read Bengali literature in the last 15 years much. Uh, so,
Those poems were in Bengali.
no, in English.
So publish it, sir. Your readers will like to,
Well,
see
I don't have a copy of that book now. I've been searching quite a lot
your friends
among the
university.
yeah. There was in fact, there were 3, 4 poems in that book translated into Bengali by my friends and was very, very widely read. And but I don't think they were good enough poems, except a few. Yeah, there were 2, 3 poems which were good enough, I would say, among the 15, 16 that I had written. But they did contain what I was in essence at that time. Although they were not lucid, they were very complex and very, what I should say, very labyrinthine, very hazy. But it was also to do with the kind of a person that I was in those young days at that time, very confused, very frustrated with the times, and so much of other things.
So that's the reality. That was the honesty we were just talking about. So if
Yeah.
you think over it, sir, maybe this thing comes
Yeah,
up.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for telling me this, but of course I will try.
My question to you on university was different. Okay. See, I know that all of us writers have our favorite forms of writing. Which something which gives most contentment to our souls. Like I like writing poems. Somebody likes write plays or prose. So, what's your favorite, poetry or prose? Or say, I think you're writing a play in your forthcoming work. So, what gives
Yeah.
you most satisfaction?
Well, the biggest satisfaction I get from writing is conversations.
You
Conversations I love. I love writing conversations because then I don't have to describe a setting. I have to give the idea of the entire setting through the dialogues of characters, and who the characters are from the dialogues of characters. It's like it's like a pathological diagnostic test. You have so much of blood in your body. A single sample of blood is taken from your body and then told to you whether you have got malarial parasite or not. So it's like that.
I can relate because I love the conversations you weave in your work. They are quite prolific. They weave the scenes themselves. Uh, okay, since we were talking about dialogues, or one question that came to my mind is about the present day literature trends. You see how our lengthy literature in which we used to soak ourselves is evolving, into blogging, or say 100-word fiction, or say 6-word story. What is your take on the current state of literature or the current literature trends? How well do you relate, or how do you foresee them, sir?
Well, to be very frank and honest, I have no views about these things.
Mhm.
You see, there are trends commensurate with the times. You have to understand that today the attention span of people is very less. So people want atomic stories, people want smaller stories, something in 100 words or 50 words or 10 words or 6 words, so be it. So it is a I should say a uh, kind of a symbol or a totem of our times. All right. So similarly, as you are talking about 100-word story or a 50-word story, similarly, web series is also evolving on the OTT platforms. Earlier, the web series would have a 1 hour episode. Today, they are having 23-minute episode, even at times 15 minutes episode. These are all to do with the fact that attention span in the postmodern time is coming down because of the intervention of technology in our lives. Uh, if somebody tells you to stay alone in a room without a cell phone or a laptop or any digital gadget for 1 hour, you will go berserk. You will not know what to do in 1 hour. But in the good old times of my days, in 30, 40 years back, we would just doze around, have a cigarette, have some grass around, have a peg, and just think for 1 hour. So that would not be 1 hour is not a big enough time. We would like for me 1 hour would be like smoking 6 cigarettes in 1 hour. So it's a 6 cigarette a pack. Well, smoking kills.
Injurious.
Uh, I have left smoking in November 2011, but at one point in time I was a very very heavy smoker.
First of congratulations for giving it up. Now don't embrace it, sir.
No,
But
no, thank you.
I am actually, this thing touched my heart. No more we have time to actually think back and sit back and think, actually, which we used to have a lot during our childhood. We can just hold a candy or a lollipop which our parents gave and go around with it for an hour doing just nothing. But today the children get bored like even in 5 minutes. But yeah, I have another question regarding this. I have also read that you say that you only accept projects which allow you a slow pace. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, because I love the philosophy of slowness. I have also written about slowness in Random Subterranean Mosaic. I believe in the philosophy of slowness for the simple reason that uh, you see, if I have to woo a beautiful girl, I'll not take a jet plane. I'll go by a horse. Okay, slowly, gradually, cross the ravines, through the deserts, take my time and reach my girl. All right. So I'll not take a jet plane. So I'm basically a lover of slowness. Something that should uh, be at my pace. Yet, I do so many slow things within the same day that at the end of the day, I end up doing so many things as well. So, but yes, I crave for slowness all along my life.
A lot
All
of
along my
a lot of gyan in today's session for youngsters, and I kind of relate to your philosophy of slowness, but I actually move quite fast, but lots of gyan. I'm taking it from you for sure.
Thank you.
What's your next slow project?
My next slow project is an intriguing romantic play, which I am writing very slowly. And I wish to be ready with that book by winter 2021. And yes, and incidentally, my second technical book is getting published this month. On 15th of June, I have a technical book which was earlier published by European Press, Scholars Press in European Union in Latvia. But this time I have got an Indian publisher for my technical book. I should not say for my technical book. It's a book which is a project with another co-author of mine. It will be published this month. We had targeted 15th of June 2021, but I don't think we will be able to publish by 15th June, but possibly by 20th or 22nd June. Yeah. So yeah, the other project, the literary project that I am writing is a play. It's a play, and it's a romantic, intriguing play. Let's see.
I would love to read it. Shabanada, when you write a technical book and when you write a literary art form, say a novel, they are entirely different styles of writing, and you have to get in depth in both. So, how different are they, and how do you, channelize your energies in each so that one doesn't interfere with the other? Because you're doing both simultaneously, I guess. Right?
Yeah. You must understand one thing. I'm a very passionate engineer. I'm a very passionate author. Okay. So, and I work in the environmental field. I work a lot with water supply, wastewater supply, industrial water, Paris Climate Accord, climate change. So these are issues which are very exciting and very involving and very engaging. And I also attend a lot of national and international conferences on these subjects, on ecological and environmental subjects. So what I'm trying to say is that the framework of writing a research technical article and the framework of writing a, let's say, a intriguing romantic play, the craft is different for both. But the concentration, the engagement, sticking to facts, sticking to authenticity, to be able to do a rational analysis, to be able to be detached from the characters or from the data of what you are writing. These are certain common characteristics that bind you together to both the kinds of writings. So I think that you will appreciate.
I really do. So you actually have bifurcations in your brain, for every single thing that you're doing in a day, which is like maybe.
It's not that I only have that. You also have that. Everybody has that. You are also an engineer and an author. So of course, but somehow I have seen that engineers are very multi-talented. You would remember that Osama bin Laden was also an civil engineer.
Exactly.
so engineers are quite multi-talented somehow.
I am from Pantnagar University, and a lot of civil engineers from my batch, I have taken into a lot of creative fields. So I can vouch by what you just said. And okay, and so actually I've taken you to a lot of places with my questions, and so what do you say is an ideal time frame for releasing a book? For example, if I release a book in this year, should I into 2021, should I be releasing my next work in say like 2023? What is the ideal time frame you say for our books to actually do well, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my sixth book, Etchings of the First Quarter of 2020, was published on June 26, 2020, when the entire country was completely at a standstill. All right. And the book was published first on the Kindle format and ebook format because the printers in Mumbai were closed. So I could not have a proper launch of that book until December 3 at Taj Bengal in Kolkata. We had a book release. The first physical event of Kolkata was done by me, and there was a media conference. The entire media of Kolkata thronged Taj Bengal for that book release. Now, the point is, I decided, my publisher said that don't publish this sixth book of yours at this time. What happened was that the Kindle format and the ebook format sold very well. But when the hard copy of the book was available, the paperback format of the book was available in October 2020, they didn't sell as much. Okay. So similarly, Fractured Mosaic was published in February 2021. We had no idea that we will have a second wave of the pandemic. So, but somehow Fractured Mosaic became very popular over a period of time. And now there is a good sales on all the formats. Somehow etchings of the first quarter, the paperback portion and the hardbound formats did not sell as much. So I cannot predict what is a good time for publishing a book, apart from the fact that generally I would say winters is a good time to publish a book between November and February, where you have got a lot of festivals. And you can pitch your books during the festivals, and you can also, a lot of booksellers are actually looking for new books during that time. And winters, normally people want to read a lot, want to stay indoors sometimes and read, or even during the sunshine, they want to sit outside and read a book. So normally it is believed that winters is a good time to publish your book, but then, you must understand that at the end of the day, in the age of new normal, everything has changed today.
I'm actually enjoying this chat with you, Sabarna. I can go on and on. But there are, of course, some people who have written to me that they would like to know your one advice to all the budding authors, for all the people who are aspiring to become authors. To them, what would you like? If there's one advice you like to give them, what it shall be?
I think if I have become an author, it is because of my journaling, regular journaling. So I would say that you should tell people who have asked you this question to start journaling, even if about the weather or a dish that they have liked during the day, even if it is a fight with their parents, even if it is an opinion piece which they think are in opposition to the government, they should write in their journal. If they have watched a movie, write a movie review. If you have read a book, write a book review. Slowly your journal becomes fat, because if you write a single page, I keep on telling people that if you write a single page over 365 days, you have a 365 page book. And how many books contain 365 pages? Tell me.
And it's also an evolution process that they follow this way.
Yeah. And when you are writing a journal, you are actually talking to yourself, and you develop a practice of soliloquy. You develop a practice of monologue. You develop a practice of creating a conversation with yourself, and you bring clarity to your own mind. And it is also very good for mental health.
Absolutely. So I will definitely share your journaling idea with all of them. It actually makes a lot of sense, because from day 1 to day 35, they would have actually seen their own evolution graph as a writer, right? So I think I'm done with my questions. Thank you so much, Sabarna. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you so much.
Put you through a lot of difficult, up,
Not at all. Thank you.
And, I really love talking to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Thank you.
to the audience as well. Thank you, Da. All the best for all your future ventures. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you so